A grim start in year 2 as viewership craters. Damn. Unrivaled, the nascent 3-on-3 women's basketball league is off to a shaky start in its second year. The league, which has a slated goal of providing elite women's basketball players an alternative to...
Those numbers aren't a typo. Unrivaled, the 3-on-3 league that promised to revolutionize women's basketball, is hemorrhaging viewers at an alarming rate, with sometimes slots seeing a 75% decline. Opening night drew roughly 175,000 viewers, but by the second weekend that figure had fallen to just 71,000, a stunning drop for a league backed by TNT and featuring some of the biggest names in the sport. Yet this story goes beyond poor ratings. It represents a looming collision between three competing visions for the future of women's basketball: Unrivaled's effort to keep players in the United States during the offseason, the enigmatic Project B with its promises of global tournaments and larger paydays, and the WNBA itself, which is now proposing the most aggressive expansion in its history.
According to a report by Front Office Sports on Wednesday, Unrivaled's opening slate of games on January 5th averaged just 175,000 viewers across TNT and True TV. 2 additional games on opening day that only aired on True TV averaged 32,000 viewers. From there, the number...
Let's put that in perspective. When asked about the league's disastrous ratings, Unrivaled CEO Alex Bezel told Front Office Sports that fans were seeing the best product on the court. Yet at the same time, social media has been flooded with clips of the mist and breeze, combining to shoot just 1 for 26 from three-point range, along with blooper reels of players tripping over one another and technical issues like microphones failing mid-game. This is year 2, the season that was supposed to prove the concept works. Instead, Unrivaled is being thoroughly outpaced by TGL, the made-for-TV golf league, which is drawing 3 to 4 times the audience. Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy hitting golf balls indoors are quadrupling the viewership of Brianna Stewart and Nafiza Collier playing basketball. Let that sink in.
Let's go to the part we all want to know. Quote, "We're building Unrivaled for the long game, and we're confident in our outlook, keeping in mind the same core principles and goals we set forth when establishing the league," Unrivaled CEO Alex Bezel told Front Office Sports. "We're proud of the product we're putting on the court each week and are going to continue growing our audience while showcasing the best women's basketball players in the world."
Now the business reality turns brutal. Unrivaled is locked into a 6-year media rights deal with TNT, but that agreement includes a critical escape clause. TNT can opt out after 3 years if the league fails to gain traction. With year 2 underway, that traction isn't just absent. The league appears to be sliding backward. The timing couldn't be worse. Warner Brothers Discovery, TNT's parent company, is currently navigating a messy potential sale, with Netflix and Paramount reportedly circling as possible buyers. Any new ownership group will scrutinize every asset on the balance sheet and ask one simple question: is this making money or is it losing it?
Dare I say. The breeze and the mist when it combined 1 for 26 from the 3-point line. I'm looking on Twitter and I'm seeing bloopers of these. They're still falling all over each other. We're still doing the mic and I don't know what's going on.
Here's what many people overlook about Netflix. The company values prestige content, projects that generate cultural conversation, social media buzz, and brand credibility, even when raw viewership numbers are modest. In that sense, Unrivaled fits the profile perfectly. It's progressive, women-focused, and built around recognizable stars. Make it the kind of property Netflix could easily place behind its paywall and promote as part of its broader sports expansion. Paramount, however, is operating in the opposite direction. The company is in cost-cutting mode, focused on shedding expenses rather than taking on vanity projects that draw only 70,000 viewers. If Paramount were to win a bidding war for Warner Brothers Discovery, Unrivaled's future would be bleak. The opt-out clause would likely be triggered, and players would suddenly find themselves searching for a new place to compete during the off-season.
We'll probably get Unrivaled the bleep out of here. I gotta be honest. Paramount would most likely get Unrivaled the bleep out of here. Netflix, on the other hand, they'd probably like a message like Unrivaled to be on their platform. I'm just being honest.
Which brings us to Project B, and this is where things get truly intriguing. Project B may be one of the most questionable ventures in professional sports right now. After announcing a handful of players back in December, the organization went completely silent for weeks, only to suddenly resurface with tournament dates in Tokyo from March 26th through April 4th. No venue details, no broadcast partner, no ticket information, just dates. The entire rollout feels deeply suspect. Who announces international tournament dates before confirming basic operational details? Who promises elite athletes significant paydays without demonstrating the infrastructure required to stage legitimate competition? The lack of transparency raises serious questions about whether Project B is a viable sports league at all.
Something tells me that Project B is not going to be getting the top players. Just, if there is a Project B, just something tells me the top, I don't know. It just reeks of scam to me. It reeks of, let me just wash some money off real quick. Just reeks of, let me just launder a couple, it just reeks to me. If it comes out and it's a real thing, I'll believe it. But as of right now, I'm taking everything Project B comes out with a grain of salt. Everything Project B announces, I'm taking with a grain of salt. So is it going to conflict with proposed start date? Yeah, I guess. Is there really going to be a Project B?
But let's assume for a moment that Project B is legitimate, that it actually intends to run these tournaments and pay the players. Even then, it faces a major problem. The Tokyo dates it announced, March 26th through April 4th, would directly conflict with the WNBA's proposed new schedule. According to sources familiar with the ongoing CBA negotiations, the WNBA is pushing to start training camp as early as mid-March while expanding the regular season from 44 games to somewhere between 50 and 54. If the league wants to add roughly 10 games while also reducing back-to-backs, the math is simple. The season needs more time, which means starting earlier and ending later. Last season, under the current CBA, training camp began on April 27th, allowing players overseas to finish international commitments and return to the U.S. A mid-March start would eliminate that window, creating an unavoidable conflict for players.
Tokyo tournament stop will start March 26th and end April 4th. The 5-on-5 league is planning a global series of tournaments in Europe, Asia, and the Americas. It's likely that the Tokyo stop will be one of the league's last before players return to the WNBA. Let me say this actually as a side note. Let's say there is a Project B. Nothing would make me happier than the WNBA owner saying, oh yeah, you're in Project B. You can't come over here late. You can play in Project B, but you're going to be here.
This is the moment where WNBA owners need to draw a line. They must establish clear parameters and stop allowing players to dictate the entire calendar. The solution is straightforward. If a player chooses to participate in Project B, that's their decision. But they shouldn't be allowed to arrive at WNBA training camp 3 weeks late because a Tokyo tournament ran long. They should be treated the same way overseas players always have been. The WNBA already has a grace period system for international commitments. Players can join their teams later if their seasons extend past the league start date, but there are consequences. They miss games, lose valuable practice time, and follow established rules. Star status shouldn't come with special treatment.
The league and WNBA Players Association are currently in a stalemate in discussions for a new collective bargaining agreement. The union is still waiting for a response to a proposal they submitted close to Christmas, according to sources familiar with negotiations. Whoa. The union is still waiting for a response to a proposal they submitted.
Now let's look at what the players are actually asking for in these CBA negotiations, because this is where the disconnect becomes clear. Just before Christmas, the WNBA Players Association submitted a proposal calling for a $10.5 million salary cap and roughly 30% of the league's gross revenue. Massive increases compared to the current structure. And while players absolutely deserve to earn more, there's a fundamental contradiction here. You can't demand NBA-level compensation while also insisting on the freedom to miss the first month of season because you're playing in a side league that may not even exist long-term.
Proposal's loony. That proposal's not happening. It hey, maybe if I just don't answer this for long enough, maybe they'll just send something a little bit more serious. In that proposal, the players are seeking a $10.5 million salary cap and roughly 30% share of league gross revenue. According to a source familiar with negotiations, the WNBA is proposing an increase from 44 games between 50 to 54 games in the...
What makes the owner's silence so revealing is that the players submitted their proposal before Christmas, and now, deep into January, the league still hasn't responded. Complete radio silence. That's not because the owners are carefully drafting a counteroffer. It's because they view the proposal as unserious, so far outside the realm of feasibility that it didn't even merit a reply, like offering $200 for a $10,000 car. As the current CBA nears expiration, this delay only strengthens the owner's leverage, especially when all the broader forces are considered together. Unrivaled is collapsing under disastrous ratings and the uncertainty surrounding a potential Warner Brothers Discovery sale. Project B may or may not even be real, while announcing dates that clash with the WNBA's proposed expanded schedule, and WNBA players are demanding record compensation while trying to preserve the freedom to play in competing leagues. These three visions cannot coexist. A mid-March start with a 50 to 54 game season ending in November effectively kills the traditional overseas model, while significantly higher WNBA salaries reduce the incentive to risk injury abroad for marginal extra income. That's the league's real strategy. Extend the season, raise pay, and make the WNBA the only rational option, an aggressive power move disguised as player-friendly expansion. The problem is that players want everything at once. Higher salaries, a longer season, and unrestricted freedom to play elsewhere, even though the physical toll of year-round basketball is already degrading on-court quality and risking long-term health. From a player welfare standpoint, higher WNBA pay could actually allow athletes to rest and recover, but only if players trust the league to deliver, a trust eroded by years of instability. Behind the scenes, owners are waiting on the next media rights deal. If it comes in strong, a 30% revenue share may suddenly work, but if it disappoints, the players' demands collapse. Meanwhile, the players' leverage is eroding as Unrivaled falters. Project B looks shaky and overseas options tighten financially, leaving the WNBA as the only viable platform. This is hardball negotiation at its finest, and time favors ownership. The most likely outcome is a stronger media deal followed by a new CBA with higher pay and a longer, more demanding season that forces players to choose, though a weak deal could trigger a labor dispute. Either way, Unrivaled is likely finished after year 3. Project B will soon reveal its true nature, and the WNBA will emerge as the dominant force in women's basketball. The real question being whether it finally uses that power to fairly compensate its players or simply reinforces its existing priorities.